Hello once again, and welcome to another Norristown Focus program. I'm Alan Raleigh. This program being brought to you, of course, by the Norristown Area School District. And today our focus is on football. Norristown Eagles, of course, one of the powerhouses in the local area, always a dominant force in the Suburban 1 League. And my guest today, Rich Everts, who's been an assistant coach here at Norristown High School for 9 years. And Rich, basically, what is your position on the Eagles squad?
My main position is the defensive secondary coach, although I call the defenses and coordinate between the line and the secondary. Also, another duty I have is I'm also the trainer for the team. So we have to
assume many.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me ask you, okay, the secondary itself, you've got the two safeties, the two cornerbacks. That's your primary function. That's the group that you're mainly responsible for.
Right.
A lot of people, I guess, when they watch a football game, they hear the announcer say, free safety making the tackle that time, strong safety coming up to meet the run, the cornerbacks playing the flankers. What does it actually mean for the non-football fan? Can you break down and actually describe what each position is responsible for?
Okay, I can try.
Yeah, I know it's tough. That's one of the biggest things.
I always tell the players when they first come out that probably the toughest position to play is in the secondary, because any other player on the front line in defense or linebackers, if they make a mistake, they have somebody behind them to help them out. If we make a mistake in the secondary, it usually ends up in a touchdown or a big gain, and everybody can see that. They know whose mistake it is. Their basic objectives are these. As a corner, which I think is the toughest position on a team, he has two basic responsibilities. One, of course, is pass. He has to play the pass. His biggest responsibility in high school football will be the run, keeping it contained, not letting the run get outside, to try to force the runner back into the flow. And that's his main responsibility. Now, we have a weak side corner and a strong side corner. What we call the weak side corner is where the one receiver is. Most teams don't run back to the weak side too much because they don't have a tight end to block. So basically, that's our weak side. The strong side is usually our best tackler in the secondary. That's the place that the offense is going to run the ball to most, their tight end side, where they have the extra man, and his job is to contain and force the play inside. A lot of times he'll have to go man-to-man with a guard, trying to block him, and the guard usually has weight on him, 20 to 30 pounds. So it's a tough position. At the same time, they have to read the release of the receiver off of the ball, and if it's a pass, they have to drop back for coverage. Your safety's primary responsibility is with the pass. They have the deep pass. They will come up on rotation to help if someone breaks through the line on a run. But basically, they're not responsible to tackle unless, I would say, the ball carries 5 or 7 yards downfield. We don't want them coming up too quick. They try to stay back 10, 12, 15 yards.
And I would assume, I guess a lot of people watch football games. They see the long pass completed. They see someone going deep. They always think it's the defensive backfield's fault. But a lot of times, they're only as good as the defensive line rush.
That's correct, right, yes. A lot of times, it depends on the type of coverage you're running. We run 12 different coverages in the secondary, from a pure zone to a man-to-man to a combination man and zone.
Okay, just stopping there for a second. Okay. Man-to-man, everyone I think can pretty much assume what's going on there. Right. But I know a zone defense is very difficult to explain. It's even hard to get across to players sometimes. But can you give just like an overview of what that would encompass? Okay,
an overview would be is each player in the secondary has a specific area to play. It doesn't matter if there's 1, 2, or 3 men in his zone. If he stays in the center of his zone, the theory is he can cover that whole zone area. And then depending on the team you play, and the type of receivers they have, you will move your zone, change it from area to area, so the quarterback can't pick up exactly what area each defender is playing. And that's what's called rotation. And they rotate to their zone and they cover their zone. They cover their area of the field. And then when the ball is thrown, everyone is supposed to go to the ball.
Now, you said you have 12 different defensive schemes.
Right.
Who is responsible during the game to call what defense you're going to be in for that particular play?
Okay, I call all the defenses. I coordinate between the line and the secondary and the linebackers. Each area of the line has their individual call. The linebackers have their individual calls, and the secondary has their individual calls. And I will call those from the sideline depending on the team we play and the circumstance, of course.
Now, in the last few years, I guess in the early to mid-'70s, most of the time the defensive backs didn't see too much action through the air because high school football used to always be a more running-oriented sport. But I guess in the last few seasons, as we've had here in Norristown, 79-80 with Steve Bono, and with a lot of other quarterbacks in the area, it's becoming more of a passing game, which I guess makes your job all the tougher.
Right, yes it has. I think you see it in pro football and college football. The pass is starting to dominate. We have found that in high school football also. In the league we're in, Suburban 1 National, is a very competitive league. We feel it's one of the toughest leagues in Pennsylvania. And we've had some very outstanding quarterbacks come from this area. And each year more and more we're tested. We've been very, very successful here at Norristown. I mainly attribute that to the athletes that we have here at Norristown High School.
If you could, I know every football coach would love to have an offensive lineman that's 6'7", 265 and can bench press 400 pounds. What would you call the ideal cornerback, the ideal safety as far as size, weight? What's a football coach just hoping he has?
On the high school level, I would say any place from 170 to 185 pounds. And I would say any place from 6 foot.
Good speed, of course?
6 foot, and your speed and quickness is very important, yes.
Okay, now in the Norristown secondary, who makes up the defensive backfield?
Okay, my corners, my strong side corner is Gene Hill. My weak side corner is Luther Harling. And my two safeties, my strong side safety is Brooke Bugg, and my free safety is Andy Town.
Norristown over the years have been blessed. They've always, at least for the 5 years we've been doing the games on cable, they've always seemed to have some excellent athletes back there in the defensive backfield.
Right, in the last 7 years we've given up less than 100 points every season. I think that says something for our defense. We've been gifted with some outstanding athletes, as this year we have, I'd have to point out Andy Town, who is rated one of the better players in southeastern Pennsylvania in the secondary, and Brooke Bugg, who's an excellent tackler and strong side safety. So yes, we have been blessed.
What type of things are you really trying to look for now? Have a few games under your belt, the scrimmages, and from what you've seen, what are the areas that you feel that you have to improve as far as your area of responsibility in the backfield?
Well, we've been very successful in the secondary. We started this year with a little different idea than we've done in the past. Usually we played a straight 52 up front. That's a 5-man line with 2 linebackers. This year we experimented quite a bit with a 4-3 and a 4-4. The thing we're going to do now is we've looked at it in preseason, what we call our preseason before our league starts, which starts this Saturday with Pennsbury. We feel that our 52 is still our best defense, and we're going to spend more time just working on 52, refining the different points. Areas of work, I think our defensive ends have to improve and are capable of improving. And I think our linebackers have done an outstanding job, but we're thin at linebacker. We have Jaquise Houchette, who goes both ways as our fullback and our linebacker, and that's a lot of work.
He's got to be tired by the fourth quarter.
Tired. So we're looking to improve ourselves there with a third linebacker. Now Ron Majors has come in and done an adequate job, but we'd like to get a little more depth in that area.
And once again, for the non-football, 5-2 defense, you have the 5 down linemen, and then of course the 2 linebackers.
2 linebackers, right.
And the 4-4 and 4-3?
And 4-3 would be 4 men up front, 4-3 would be 4 men up front, 3 linebackers, and you play the same kind of secondary, 2 corners and 2 safety. Now in a 4-4 gives a different look. You have 4 linemen, 4 linebackers, and then you have 3 secondary people instead of 4. There's no rotation involved. We tried that because if we shifted from a 5 to a 4 front, that completely changes the blocking assignment of the offensive lineman. So we tried to change up quite a bit and confuse them. But we've been so strong with a 5 front that we just felt it didn't really do us any good to make that switch.
Now this year you do have some returning players. Norristown, as you said, they've been such a dominant team defensively. But this year it seems that there's no one quote-unquote superstar that stands out. There's no Jeff and Jerome Reinhardt dominating the ends. I would assume that this year, as far as the defensive line, they've got to play more as a group than ever before to really gel.
Right. I agree with you. We don't have the one outstanding lineman, but I think as a whole, we can be a better defensive ball club. We have no weak spots. I think every player is an excellent football player and does a good job. For example, Michael Taylor, our nose guard, 2 weeks ago did not have a real good game. Last week he won the Gilbert Award. Had 17 solo tackles. That was an outstanding game.
Against Archbishop Carroll, and he also had a few sacks, too.
Right. So, we have players of that caliber all the way down the line. Bill Angelucci, who not only is an outstanding defensive tackle now. We've moved him to defensive end, so he can play both defensive tackle or defensive end. So we've had that flexibility, which we haven't had in years before. When we had Jeff Reinhardt, he was a defensive tackle, and that was it. We have Butch Glisson, who can come in and play defensive nose or defensive tackle. So we have some variety. We can do some switching around. Michael Taylor, our nose guard, could play linebacker if we need him there. So we have that flexibility, which helps.
Okay. Look, just like to thank you for coming up, spending some time with us. We'll be back in just a few moments with head coach Roger Grobe and another assistant coach in the Norristown Eagles, Coach Griffiths, and Coach Everts. Good luck for the rest of the season, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much, Alan.
And we'll be back in just a moment.